Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another episode of Ask Fish. This is a series where I answer your questions and we talk about all things in the recent guitar gear world. Speaking of which, link to our Discord is in the description. It's where I pull the questions from if you got one for next week. This is actually a pretty long episode, so let's not waste any time. Hit the like button if you're going to enjoy the video. It actually really helps gain favor with the YouTube algorithm. Let's jump into your questions. Foreskin Gamer Extreme asks, Heafy Gibson one-offs? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Thought? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Yes, dude, these are so sick. So if you haven't seen these yet, Gibson made 3 one-off Half-Sumo themed Les Pauls for Matt Heafy, and they look absolutely insane. Matt Heafy is half Japanese, and he pays a lot of respect to his heritage in a number of his projects, like Shogun, obviously. He's even got a children's book, and now with these guitars. Ridiculously cool with the traditional Japanese folk art style. You know that super iconic painting, Under the Wave of Kanagawa, I think? That kind of exaggerated, romanticized flat imagery with really vibrant, solid colors. Like, there's no gradient to the colors, is what I mean. Kind of like they've used the fill tool in MS Paint. Super dope art style. Speaking of MS Paint, check out this screenshot of my analytics. Totally not doctored in MS Paint at all. It would appear that over 4,967,920% of viewers are not subscribed. How has that happened? So if you're enjoying the content, do me a favor and hit subscribe. That actually really helps on the channel. Now, in the post, he said, quote, "We're planning now if y'all will ever get a chance to get some. Should we make this a limited line?" They're totally making this a limited line. Now, out of the 3, my favorite one is this one. I love the simplicity of the design and the simple black and gold color combo. Works really well with this custom series Fishman humbuckers and the gold Fluence squiggle. And it wasn't the intention, but it reminds me a lot of a Japanese kintsugi bowl. I love these things. They're essentially bowls that have been broken, they've been shattered, and what's special about them is that there's art in how they've been put back together. Each one is unique, no bowl breaks in the same way, and the cracks are emphasized, filled with gold, not only showing the cracks, but also celebrating them. The idea is it's a metaphor for life, like how each of our stories are different, the hardships we go through, how they shape us, and how we overcome them to come out better and stronger for it. Love that. And even though that's not what they're going for, that's what it reminds me of, and the design is still just really cool. Interestingly, Matt's known for playing customs, and while 2 of them are customs, the 3rd guitar is a standard. And I actually really like this design as well. There's that intense imagery, but it's not all over the top. It's given room to breathe, which makes it all the more striking. And I hope this means that we'll have a Gibson USA option alongside the probably $8,000 custom shops. There is a chance that this is a custom shop standard, but I don't see what the point of that would be. I think they would have just made 3 Les Paul customs in that case. The only change I'd make, though, for the production run, like Adam Jones, Matt's known for playing customs. His OG Gibson is a Les Paul custom. In all the Ascendancy videos, he's playing a Les Paul custom. All his signature models, Les Paul customs. If I were him, I would insist his standard take a cue from the Adam Jones standard model and borrow features from the Les Paul custom, namely an ebony fingerboard and real mother of pearl inlays. That way it looks and feels closer to the guitars that fans associate him with. Plus, the standard custom hybrids are just dope. And this run, in the context of Gibson's lineup, makes a lot of sense. They've got great attainable Epiphones like Heafy's current signatures and the Prophecy series, but nothing metal focused at the premium levels. Hunter, in post here, I just realized that it sounds like I'm talking about Gibson's lineup overall. What I actually meant in my head was in the context of the Les Paul lineup, because you know what channel this is. Anyways, back to the video. And for this art series, it would be really cool to involve Epiphone as well for those that can't or don't want to plop down the cash for a US-made Les Paul. Now, I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of how Epiphone is doing the Adam Jones custom art launches, limited to 800 pieces worldwide of each design at a time. I get why they're doing it. Replicate with Epiphone the collectability factor that has made Gibson a bulletproof brand, but a big part of Epiphone's charm is their accessibility. They're the people's brand. Accessibility and exclusive collectible are directly opposing concepts. But in this case, since Matt Heafy already has the standard production versions of his signature Origins out in the wild and in stock at dealers that anyone can pick up at any time, a limited art variant for the hardcore fans would be very cool. Anyways, those are my thoughts, and if you didn't know before, now you know about Japanese kintsugi bowls. And now here's where I'll throw it to you. Limited art editions of Matt Heafy's Les Pauls. Which is your favorite? If there's a limited run, are you gonna try and cop? Any and all thoughts, let me know down below. Now let's take a quick second to talk about one of my favorite channel partners, Ridge, who have sponsored today's video. If you're a regular viewer, you've heard me talk about Ridge a lot on the channel. Absolutely love the products, and it's actually their 10th anniversary. And to celebrate, if you use my link in the description, you'll get 40% off and free shipping, which is the largest discount I've ever seen them run. And Ridge is redefining the wallet in a way that makes sense for modern life. I made the switch a couple of years ago. Cannot imagine going back to the old traditional bulky style. I love the sleek modern form factor that can hold all your cards and fit into your front pocket. The durable plates made of aluminum, titanium, or carbon fiber or RFID blocking so scammers can't steal your information, and each wallet comes with a lifetime guarantee. Ridge has a ton of colors and styles to choose from. All the B-roll I'm showing are some of my current favorites. They're a fantastic gift option for those hard to shop for friends, and you don't just have to take my word for it. They have over 50,000 5-star reviews. So if you want to see why so many people are switching over to Ridge and love it, head on over to ridge.com/agafish. Again, 40% off and free shipping. It's the biggest discount ever. Link will also be in the description, and of course, click and help support the channel by letting them know that I sent you. And while you're checking them out, let's get back into your questions. Colonel Ty Ball asks, hey Hunter, I know you're not a huge Wylde audio fan, but did you see they're doing a production model of his Ironworks Barbarian SG lookalike? Dude, the Ironworks Barbarian is the coolest guitar that they've ever done. So essentially, they've taken a page from Zemaitis Metal Front playbook and applied it to their Barbarian shape with stunning results. They've slapped a piece of aluminum to the top of the guitar, laser engraved with runes and Norse imagery. Fuck, it looks so fucking cool. The rest of the specs are pretty much classic Wylde audio. Odd 24.625 scale length, mahogany body, thick C satin 3-piece maple neck, 14-inch radiused ebony fingerboard with 22 extra jumbo frets and pearloid rune inlays. So cool. Zakk Wylde's favorite EMG 8185 set, Tone Pro's hardware, Grover tuners. Interestingly though, it does look like the back of the body has a thin burled maple cap to add a little bit of texture and worn character. It's not just a veneer. And also love the brushed chrome pickup rings. Those are a very nice touch. And judging by the special Wylde Audio Ironworks logo on the website, this is hopefully the first in a full Ironworks line. I feel like Wylde Audio's lineup really lends itself to this aesthetic. Like, the Nomad is screaming for the Ironworks treatment. So is the Blood Eagle, and an Odom would look awesome too. And for as long as I can remember, the only production metal front guitars have been Zemaitis's. They have the metal front single cut, still want one of those, and a metal front V. And Wylde Audio's take with the Viking theme and the runes is even cooler. It also looks like Zemaitis might have discontinued the Korean metal front line. All the metal fronts on their website are made in Japan and like $3,000. So while the Ironworks version is more expensive than the other Barbarians, it's actually the most affordable current production guitar with this metal front aesthetic. And man, between this and John Brown's Tau series, Schecter is doing some really cool shit recently. I know, technically Wylde Audio isn't Schecter, but also, come on, it kind of is. It's a whole ass main tab on Schecter's website. But yeah, the Ironworks Barbarian is completely over the top without being cheesy. Something that Wylde Audio doesn't always succeed at. I love it. I love it so much. Earlier this week, I've asked my Schecter guy if he's got one in stock I can demo. I've also been trying to demo an Odin Grail forever, but Wylde Audio hasn't been too keen to send me anything. Might have something to do with calling their launch single cut overpriced and overhyped. I don't know. Listen, I still stand by my opinions in that video. Those initial run guitars didn't feel great, but I've heard from just about everyone that's tried them recently that quality really improved a year or so after launch. So I'd love to revisit them, especially with something as unique and literally metal as the Ironworks Barbarian. I'll let you know what happens, but in the meantime, here's where I'll throw it to you. Ironworks Barbarian, how fucking metal is this? What are you thinking? Let me know down below. Just a Amateur asks, with the success of the Harley Benton JA-Baritones, do you have any info about possible future releases, color options, pickup variations, etc.? Right, okay, let me lay out a little bit of context for this one, because I really like it, and it perfectly illustrates one of Harley Benton's greatest strengths. Basically, through my limited contract role with Harley Benton, I got them to release a 28-inch scale length baritone Jazzmaster. I was talking to Andrew Baena, and he brought it to my attention that a while back, Squier released a baritone Jazzmaster that one of the guitarists in Loathe liked to play. It looked cool, especially the one in all black, the 28-inch scale length and single coil pickup combo. Nothing really sounded like it. Plus, there was the charm of playing stupidly heavy music on a stupidly cheap guitar. For whatever reason, Squier discontinued it though, and the price of these things started to get silly. I mean, it was a $200 guitar that's being sold on Reverb for like $1,000 bucks. Moreover, Baena hated that fucking bridge. He would not stop moaning about how stupid that bridge was. And I was like, well, a super affordable 28-inch scale length baritone Jazzmaster? Harley Benton can do that, and we can write this ship. Just because Squier won't do it doesn't mean players shouldn't have access to a stupid cheap and stupid fun 28-inch baritone. And at the same time, we can fix things like the dumb bridge, make it a hip shot style hardtail instead. The pickups were a little underpowered, let's throw some P90s in there. Other than that, let's stay faithful to what people loved about the original. They were also concerned, you saw the price on Reverb, but the specs are so out there. They were like, how many people actually want this? So they went with only one color, the safest option, the blacked out color theme, and holy fuck, it is now the #1 sales rank in baritone guitars for Thomann. Now, short answer to your question, at this point in time, I'm not aware of any plans for more colors. Again, the idea was I wanted to fill the gap that Squier had astoundingly vacated and left budget baritone fans high and dry. If there are any other color options you want to see, I'm not making any promises, but let me know. If they're good, I'll pass them on. I had suggested a fusion version, and that idea was pretty well received after they saw how well the JA-Baritone sold, but I wouldn't hold your breath. I'm not sure that's happening. Right now, at least, the completely blacked out one is the only version, and if you want one, you better pre-order it now because they are back ordered to fuck. They literally cannot keep them in stock. And if you do order something from Thomann, may I ask a favor? My affiliate link is in the description. You can even bookmark it. I get a little kickback. It's a fun way to support the channel if you're ordering something from there anyways. Now it's time to talk about some new releases. Keep these on your radar. The first new thing we should talk about is the gold foil series from Fender. These are so cool. They're made in Mexico. There's an $11.99 Tele, a $13.99 Jazzmaster, which looks freaking sick, and a $12.99 Jazz Bass, which also looks freaking sick. All the instruments feature vintage hardware, matching headstocks, and ebony fingerboards. as the series suggests, gold foil pickups are front and center. The guitars feature mini humbuckers, while a single coil sits in the J-Bass. That's wild, and we'll come back to the J-Bass in a second. But let's talk about the Jazzmaster first, which looks like it was perfectly captured from a Black Keys garage rock fever dream. Comes in Candy Apple Burst and Shoreline Gold. It's got a Bigsby B5 system and 3 gold foil mini humbuckers, each with their individual Jaguar-style on-off switch. Some insane tonal options there. The ebony fingerboard has big block inlays, which is a really uncommon feature for a made-in-Mexico Jazzmaster, and it's got narrow tall frets for that vintage feel. The Candy Apple Burst looks straight out of an old Silvertone catalog, sure to entice every pawn shop guitar lover out there. Meanwhile, a Shoreline Gold also looks great, really leans into that Harmony silhouette look. The Tele is a bit more stripped back, just 2 pickups, no fancy wiring. It's also available in Candy Apple Burst, but instead of Shoreline Gold, it has a white blonde finish option that's plenty classy, a bit more Fender-ish. The Tele will also have a more modern feel compared to the Jazzmaster, with larger medium jumbo frets and, interestingly, a flatter than Fender's normal 12-inch fingerboard radius. Kinda strange the fingerboard specs aren't standard across the series. I guess the idea is to have both vintage and modern feeling options for the series, but it is bizarre, especially given the Tele's vintage style brass barrel ashtray bridge. That's a tongue twister. And both guitars have vintage style hardware. I don't know, my confusion aside, they're dope ass guitars, especially with the matching headstocks. And then, I usually don't give a shit about bass, but the gold foil Jazz Bass is definitely worth talking about. It's really quite stylish in sonic blue with the matching headstock and tortoiseshell pickguard, and it looks really quite bizarre in 2-color sunburst. I think it's the white pickguard in traditional color. It just emphasizes how much empty space there is, because these things are really stripped down, but in a good way. Compared to the Jazzmaster's anxiety-inducing controls, the Jazz Bass only has 1 volume, 1 tone, and 1 pickup. Yeah, I mean, sonic blue, matching headstock, tortoiseshell pickguard, gold foil pickup, and an ebony fingerboard. Let's fucking go. I also love how this series follows the Noventa's lead of a 1-2-3 theme. They did it with a 1 pickup Tele, 2 pickup Strat, and 3 pickup Jazzmaster. But instead of 3 guitars, the gold foil includes the 1 pickup bass, then the 2 pickup Tele, and the 3 pickup Jazzmaster. It makes it feel like a really comprehensive series, whereas usually the bass is off doing its own thing. Okay, so obviously the standout feature is the gold foil pickups, and my immediate thought is Harmony guitars. Harmony is actually the oldest American guitar brand, and back in the day they were prolific. They were also known for, in general, being pretty garbage. They were recently revived by the same parent company that owns Heritage, and now Harmony makes very stripped down, premium American-made guitars with the same retro, futuristic vibe. And it's been a really successful relaunch. People love them. The Harmony Jupiter I have is awesome. It's like a blend between a Les Paul Special and a Telecaster. It's made in the USA with the nitro finish, and it's $12.99. About the same price as these Fender gold foils. And it sucks Fender's made in Mexico guitars are getting so pricey, because everyone I've tried so far has been a great player. My first real Fender was a Player Tele. I loved that guitar, still have it, upgraded the crap out of it, and when I got it, it was a no-brainer value buy at $675, I think. Now it's $850, which is still a decent value for money, but at that price, you're thinking about it a little bit, and there are a lot of great used options in that category. Taking price out of it though, the gold foil is a very cool series. And I say this all the time, Fender gets a lot of shit for re-releasing the same models over and over and over again, but last few years they've been prolific with their experimental series. They have become very, very good at taking their classic shapes that Fender fans love and putting unique twists on them. You've got the Parallel Universe and Alternate Reality series, mixing and matching elements from Gibson style guitars as well as elements from their own lineups. There's the aforementioned P90 loaded Noventa series, the 66 with its mini jazz bass body. I mean, they've gotten very good at creating things that are both surprising and familiar, and it's something I wish other companies would do more of. Looking at you, Axe Design Lab, making another Tim Henson style RG is not exactly pushing into uncharted waters. Then Victory has updated their Plexi style Sheriff line with the Sheriff 25 and the VS100 Super Sheriff amps, which replace the Sheriffs 22 and 44. You get it? Marshall, Sheriff? I'm sure you got it. We move. Sheriff 25 is available as either a head or a combo loaded with a Celestion G12H anniversary speaker. It also adds a revoiced hot rod second channel, providing more gain for even British heavy metal tones apparently, in addition to the original Plexi voice. It comes fitted with EL86s, but it can be biased to work with other valves like big boy 6L6s too. I guess we're saying valves instead of tubes because it's a British amp, but that is a crazy feature. For example, the PRS MT15 is known for sounding like a fucking monster, in large part because it used 6L6s instead of the smaller tubes lunchbox heads normally run. Apparently you can even put the massive KT66s in there too. That's wild. I don't know how true that is though, because I only see that on the Anderton's website and not on Victory's own website, but big if true. The VS100 Super Sheriff is, I mean, yeah, exactly what you think it is. It's a bigger 100 watt version. There is a wide body variant, which is even bigger. It's got the same specs and matches the width of their 412 cabinets, as opposed to the normal variant that matches the width of their 212s. It also has 2 channels, and each channel has 2 separate modes, which adds more gain, a de facto 4-channel amp. There are new presence and focus switches for more tone shaping options. There's a power soak feature, so you can use it at the full destructive 100 watts, or drop it down to a more calming 35 watts. So overall, quite a substantial upgrade for the Sheriff series. Victory, they're a boutique brand out of the UK. They are not cheap, but god damn, they're good. I just got a Super Kraken, the one Rabia helped voice, and fuck, I love it. It's a bit dark sounding, it's super tight, and it sounds so mean. All I'm saying is there's a reason that Mark Tremonti loves these things and uses Victory for recording all the time. Then Fishman sent out an email announcing, quote, new Greg Koch P90 Signature Series neck pickups. And, well, they weren't wrong. So I was thinking like, oh shoot, what did they do? Is it a big upgrade? Did they revoice them? Did they add a completely new voice? Or is it a smaller upgrade? Like, did they add new colors? Did they make it available in a humbucker size form? So, you know Greg Koch's signature P90 Fluence set? Well, you can now buy the neck pickup by itself. That's it. I had not realized that before you could only buy the full set or the bridge by itself, but fear not, ladies and gentlemen, that is now a worry of the past. The neck pickup is now officially available for individual sale. I guess clickbait isn't exclusive to just YouTubers. No, but actually the P90 Fluences are supposed to be awesome because P90s are great. They're such aggressive, raw-sounding pickups. I mean, they're essentially beefy single coils, and that also means they're noisy as fuck. And when you have a stacked P90 or a hum-canceling P90, they have less noise, but they also sound different. The Fluence P90 gets rid of the noisy hum, and it still sounds like a proper P90. And then on top of that, you get the 3 voices, underwound P90, overwound P90, and like a jangly, stratty single coil. They really are very cool pickups. And so now if you've got a guitar with a humbucker route in the bridge and a P90 route in the neck, like say Chris Robertson's signature PRS SE, you can mod it with Fluences. So yeah, not exactly a huge announcement, obviously more options, more good. I just found the clickbait very funny. Like, oh shit, so that's what it feels like. And it's definitely not a new release, but I feel like we have to talk about the absolute insanity that's happened over the course of the last week around the Digitech Bad Monkey Overdrive pedal. The Bad Monkey was a pedal that they made in the 2000s and has always been a fan favorite, affordable alternative to the Tube Screamer. It usually goes for about 60 bucks used, but since Josh Scott released a video last week showing how the sound is basically indistinguishable from a Klon, dude, the prices have gone insane. And for context, the Klon is famous in equal part for being a great sounding overdrive, but also being outrageously expensive. I feel like it's a good time to remind everybody that Digitech was recently revived as a company. They're back. They'll probably re-release the Bad Monkey at some point now that it's been revealed that it's a Klon in disguise or whatever. But yeah, I just think it's an interesting case study into how quickly hype can inflate prices in the modern internet age gear landscape. And it points to a potential problem in the pedal world. Like, are the prices of these things completely arbitrary? Is the pedal market more hype dependent than tone dependent? These were 60 bucks for years until about last week. They've been widely available, nothing's changed, and now look at the reverb price guide. So I wouldn't really recommend buying one for 200 bucks. But if you've got an old Bad Monkey lying around that you're not really using, now's the time to list it. And that will do it for this week's episode of Ask a Fish. Massive shout out to my amazing patrons that make this and every other video possible. Their names are on the screen right now. Consider joining them if you like what I do and want to support the channel. You can also join as a channel member or grab yourself some comfortable merch. I basically reinvest everything back into making better content, and every little bit helps out. Social media, affiliate, and Discord server links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I will see you for the next video.